Hi guys, welcome to FBX. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream on Twitch weekdays from 5 PM Pacific time in the US, 11 AM in Australia and 12 AM in the UK. Okay, I think we'll continue on with what we were working on yesterday. It was these stairs. So, let's get some music happening. Okay. I thought what we might do, instead of me explaining all the time how I'm going to texture the stairs and the pieces separately, I'll texture this stairwell to show you what I mean with painting over the top of a base texture. So we'll get started on that right now. I'm going to select the things that I want to take into Mari to texture. So I'll isolate that selection. Now Mari prefers to have, I think you can import it with FBX now, but I still prefer to work in OBJ. So what I'm going to do is, before I do that, I want to put a UV map unwrap on this base of the stair. Open the UV editor. Okay, everything's selected. I'll do a flatten mapping on that. Alright, that's just so that when it comes time for me, before I do that actually, let me remove that. What I want to do is set up, this is using UV channel 1 at the moment, and I don't want to destroy the UVs that are on there, or the texture mapping position that's on there. So I want to change the map channel to 2. I will move the UVs across. And now I can work with what we have here. So I'll open the UV editor. Same thing again, we'll go to mapping, flatten mapping. That's all okay. Now by putting it into UV channel 2, it hasn't changed the UV texture layout because that's in UV channel 1, mapping channel 1. So what we can do now is go render. Where are we? Render to texture. And of course it's coming off screen, so let me pop that in. Alright, what have we got here? We want to use an existing channel and channel 2. Hey Josh, yeah, I'm live. Welcome to the chat. So we're going to use existing channel 2. We're going to add a diffuse map. I'm going to render it out at a high resolution, and that way if we decide later on that we want to drop the texture resolution for whatever we're using the model for, we can do that in Photoshop. So I'll render it out at 2048. And I'll save it out to my desktop at this stage. I'll create a folder called stairs. Pop it in there, and a target map should be fine. Yeah, hi Josh. Thanks for joining the chat. If you got any questions, anything you want to know, feel free to ask. Alright, we're going to save that as a 32-bit. Actually, we'll save that as a 24-bit. We don't really need an alpha channel. So, again, we're rendering to texture using existing channel 2. We're saving out the diffuse map. The straight stair is the object that's selected. And that should be good to go. Let's see how we go. Okay, it's got that all rendered out. We can close the render to texture dialog. Now, with steps, what I'm going to do is, they're all separate objects at the moment, so I'm going to attach them all. So I'll throw a edit poly, and then I'll attach all of the separate steps, step tops really. Okay. Now again, what we want to do here is throw a unwrap UVW. We want to change the mapping channel to channel 2. We're going to move the UVs across. We'll open the UV editor. We're going to select all of the UVs, go to mapping, flatten mapping. We'll just give that a little while Max works it all out for us. Okay. Again, that hasn't affected our original texture because it's on map channel 1. So we're going to go to render, render to texture. We're going to go to map channel 2. We're going to add a diffuse map. Again, I'm going to make this larger than I really need it. And if we need to later, we can drop it back. So we'll do it 2048 by 2048. And again, I'm going to save it to my stairs folder. As a target, the 24-bit. We'll do a render, continue. Okay, that's done. We can close the render to texture dialog box. Now, just for the sake of good housekeeping, before I do anything else, I'm going to save what I've been working on. Just in case OBS and Windows 10 decide to play up again. All right. And I'm going to rename this step tops. And I'm going to rename this stairs. All right, now I'm going to go to File, Export, Export selected. We're going to save it into our stairs folder. We're going to save it as an OBJ. We're going to call it stairs. Just use the defaults here, it should be fine. Export, that's done. Now we're going to select the step tops, do the same thing, go to File, Export, Export selected. we're still in our stairs folder, and we're going to call this one step tops and export. Okay. Now again, I'm just going to save my Max file before I open up Mari. All right. Now I'll keep Max open and I'll open up Mari. You could probably do this work in Photoshop as well. Quite well doing it in Photoshop. I just like Mari because it's a 3D painting program, so I can rotate the model around and lay down a texture exactly where I want it. I just find it a little bit easier for me, but I've worked in Photoshop as well, and it's just as good using Photoshop. Mari also have a free version that you can use if you do want to give it a try. It's a real system hog though. Just let me get my chat showing up again. All right. All right, fine. We're going to create a new project. We'll call this one stairs. We're going to, we'll try importing at 2048. The path was going to be our stairs folder that we put on the desktop. Where are you? Alright, you don't want to let me see it. Alright. Let me cancel that for a minute. I'm just going to copy my stairs folder into just going to pop it into the root of the F drive for the time being. Go back into Mari, new, we'll call this one stairs. We'll get the path, which should be on our F drive now. Going to load up the stairs object. We're going to import at 2048. And we're going to find the texture that we rendered to texture from Max for the stairs. Which is this one right here. So we have the name of our project, the path to our object, OBJ file. You don't have to worry about these for the time being. We're creating and importing a texture map at 2048 by 2048. Let's go okay. Oh. It's just complaining it can't find the texture map, but that's not a big problem. We can assign it manually. All right. Now, what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm going to, sorry, I've got some of my tabs off on my second monitor here, and it's hiding my chat. So if I'm ignoring chat for a little while, please bear with me while I'm moving things around. Okay. Now I'm just going to check my projection settings to make sure that I'm working at a high enough resolution. The shaders panel is where you'll lay down textures over the model. So I'm going to I'll pull in the image manager as well. And we'll pull in a couple of images to use to texture. I'm going to pull in the entire directory. It doesn't really matter. It's only putting a reference to the image. It's not actually pulling it into the program, so it won't affect your memory usage or anything like that. Okay, now let's have a look here. I'm just pressing the number keys on my keyboard to give me different views. That's the back view, bottom, top, sides, and that should be the front. I'm just going to check. No, that's the back. Okay, that's the front. All right. The reason I'm putting it into a direct front view is because I don't want the texture when I start painting to spill across the top of the flat surfaces and stretch. So what I'm going to do here is turn on edge masking. And see what that does is, if I want to angle it like this when I do the painting, wherever that red line is, or wherever that red shading is, the texture painting won't affect that at all. So anything on the top won't be painted on. It'll only be the sections here that are clear. And that will change depending on the angle that I'm looking at the model. So back to full, pull it down maybe like that, scale it up. And let's find an image. I think what I want for the front parts of the steps here is a bit of dirt and grime, make it look as if it's been water has been running down them and left residue behind. So what I can do for that is pull out this one. I want to scale it down a little. I'll scale it down a little more, I think, actually. Now, let me pull this panel in, maybe just over here. At the moment, I'm just working in the first channel. You can think of these channels as Photoshop layers. So, for instance, the color is the first layer. If I go add a channel, so we'll keep it as a touch-up channel. I don't want 8K, I want 2K, 8 bits fine, normal. Now we have another channel on top of this one. Alright, let's start painting. For some reason it's not panning through. So let me find out what's happening here. Max recently did an update to Service Pack 3 and they made some changes to OBJs. And it looks to me like it hasn't pulled in the UV maps for some reason. So whatever change Autodesk has made to map channels, it's causing a problem. So what we're going to do is we'll give FBX a go, see if that's any improvement. Choose a step. One thing I think I forgot to do was to copy the map channel over, so we'll do that right now. Inside your Utilities tab, you should find, if you don't, I have mine set up here as its own button, but if you don't see that, then in Utilities, you'll find more. If you go into more, you'll find it in here. It's called Channel Info. See, at the moment, what we did was we have the original UV channel, which is channel 1. Then we added another UV channel, which is channel 2, which is the one that we want to use to paint over the texture. So what we need to do is copy UV map 2 into UV map 1, and that's going to mess your textures up, but don't worry at the moment. Then we can clear channel 2, so we're only working with channel 1. We're going to open up our material editor. Let me get a clean spot here. We want a standard material, a bitmap. We're going to go to where we moved our stairs folder. And this one's called Straight Stair. plug that into the diffuse channel. Show shaded, show realistic, and assign material to selection. And as you can see now, it's all back to the way it was. Now we're going to do the same thing with the steps. So we go to channel info, copy from map 2 into map 1, and then clear map 1. Go back into our texture, material browser, another standard texture, a bitmap, and we're going to go with box. We're going to plug that into the diffuse channel, standard, show realistic, and assign material to selection. Now it's back to the way it was. Let me do a quick save now. Alright, I'll export selected. I'll try it again. This is the step tops as an OBJ, but I'll also try exporting as an FBX and see if that helps at all. Okay, we'll do the, actually I'll export again. Export selected. This time we'll do an FBX. We're going to call this one step tops. Okay. Now we will export the stairs themselves as an OBJ again. Export. That was done quickly. We're going to export selected as an FBX. Call this one stairs. Okay. Back into Mari. Try the stairs. I'm just not sure if it actually saved it to the right spot, so I'm going to just double check that I didn't save them into the old stairs folder. I did, I know that because the FBX file's here, so I'm just going to copy these over. Okay. Back into Mari. File new. We're going to call it stairs. We're in the right folder, so we'll try the OBJ again. We want to create and import 2048. Diffuse map. Okay, 2048 stairs, the object. don't think it likes it. We might have to try the FBX. The UVs are there, so we'll give it a go. Number 4, pull it forward. Let me load up my images. Open. Alright, let's pull one of these in, scale it down. Okay. The problem I was having was, by default, I don't want it to stick anywhere, so by default you have to create a layer. So all I did by doing that was hitting this little button here. That adds a new layer on top of the texture map. So this box here is more like the Photoshop layers that you have. This is different. This is if you want to add a separate channel, like maybe a specular. I've just turned it to flat shaded so that we can see and the light isn't throwing across it to make it look black. Alright. Let me just continue painting along here. One of the good things with Mari is it uses a texture buffer, so it's not physically on the object, even though I've just painted it in, until I press the Alt key to bake that down onto the mesh. So if I didn't want it to be where it actually is, I could simply move the mesh and the texture would follow with it before it's been baked down. But once I press the Alt key, it gets baked down. Alright. Let's move the texture again. You see, even though I'm painting here on the red, it's not showing up. It's not painting on the model because of the masking that's happening. So you don't have to be super careful or anything. You can just paint and not have to worry about it. I'm just painting out the lines where it joins the textures up there. Hit the Alt key to bake it down. Now they look a bit similar, so I'm just going to paint that down a bit differently from the one above it. And then we'll go into here like this. This gives a bit of variation between the top one and the next one down. Bake that down. We might start it maybe there. Again, though, what I'm going to do with this texture, it's not actually even going to look like it is at the moment. This will be used to mask, to layer on top of the original texture, just to give it a bit more variety. Bake it down. Move on to the next one. I'm actually using a Wacom tablet, so I can just get a bit finer control over it. Again, though, you don't need a tablet. It just helps sometimes if you just want some finer detail to show up, and then the mouse can be a bit heavy-handed. Get rid of a mistake I put in there. Bake that down. And maybe a bit lighter here, I think. And bake that down. Let's do it from here. And maybe from here. Bake it down. And then we'll do here. And maybe there like that. And there like that. All right. Bake that down. Move the model a little bit so I've got a bit more area to work with. Maybe like that. And like that. Bake it down. Move the model. Bake that down. Move the model. And fill that bit in there. Okay. Maybe that like that, I think. A bit darker here, I think. I might just pop that out a little bit there like that. Take that down. Okay, and here. Take that down. maybe there like that. And we'll just fix that bit right there. Work that down. I'm just going to make a quick save. Alright. Now let's move on to here. A bit through here. I have Murray set up to only do a bake down when I hit the Alt key. That way, if I change my mind and don't like what I've done, I can stop it. But you can configure that in Murray itself. If you prefer it to do it automatically, then it'll do it automatically for you as well. You don't have to worry about hitting a key to do it. A lot of people prefer it to do it that way because they don't want to hit a key. They just want it to work for them, which is cool. Right, move it down. I might go with a darker bit down here, I think. Might go a bit lighter in the middle. Now I'm noticing that looks very similar to that, so I want to try and avoid comparisons directly like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of that out to make it look a bit different. And I'm also going to do the same thing around here. All right. Paint it in here. Paint it in here. And through here. A bit there. And this bit right here. Bake it down. Go with a bit lighter through here. We don't want every step to look like it's completely dirty. And because that texture map has light as well as dark areas, it's easy to move it around and just get the bit that we want. Doing a bit of dirt on it though. Okay. We might go with a bit more dirt on this one. Again, I'm noticing that it's too similar to the one above it, so I'm just going to make it a little bit different so it's not quite so obvious. A bit like that. Remember, if you guys have any questions or anything you don't understand, feel free to pop into chat and ask me. I'm quite happy to help. And the bottom one. All right. And let's save there. Now, do I want to do anything else on this? What I might do is add another layer. This eye icon will just turn a layer on and off, so that turns it off and that turns it back on. By adding a new layer, just like in Photoshop, if you want to place another texture on top of the work you've already done, you can do it without worrying about destroying the work underneath. So we might do that. We might give it a bit more interest again. Now, I'm not going to be texturing the tops of these stairs because these are being covered in max by another mesh, by the step itself. So you don't have to worry, waste time texturing something you're never going to see. I think I missed a little spot right there. I got that one, that's okay. So what are we doing here? We want to pick something else interesting. You select a new texture just by clicking it and dragging it in. Now this crack is really interesting. This could make a nice effect. So on a second layer, the layer above the one below it, I'm going to paint down on top of what we've already done. Let me just bake that down. Pardon me. And we're going to move that out of the way so we can see what we're doing. Just a sec, guys. Now we can play with the layer style just like we can in Photoshop. Let me zoom in a little bit on that so we can see it a little bit more easily. Alright, let's see now. Add. Nope. Multiply. Nope. Screen. Nope. Overlay. Maybe. We can even dial it back this way. So completely gone to completely on. tickle in my throat. Let's see what some of the others will do. Soft light. Hard light. Nope. Pen light. Nope. Hard mix. Nope. Difference. Nope. Exclusion. Nope. Nope. Alright, let's go back up to, what did I like? Multiply, I think. And bring it down just a little bit. Alright, let's paint some of that in. Now I'm not going to do the cracks completely everywhere. I'm going to just put them in certain spots. Particularly around these bits here, which I've noticed you can sort of notice a bit of repetition happening, so it should help to break that up a bit.